When she went through her symptoms, it was the stomach, the chest, the GI, the tightness of the neck, and then the left arm. We decided to take a drive, and I find it peculiar that on the way over, she asked me, well, promise me that if my left arm stops hurting when I get there, you'll turn around in a parking lot, because she does not want to bother anybody. Little did I know, 60 seconds from parking the car, she was going to collapse of cardiac arrest in my arms as we were checking in. I had no idea that she was experiencing the symptoms earlier in the morning. She was in her office doing her thing, and typical fashion, suffering in silence, without sharing that, hey, I was laying on the floor, I'm surfing, heart attack, symptoms, etc. And it kind of makes you a little bit, frustrated to know that that was going on.
I remember kind of doing this with my arm and thinking that's just a different feeling, and then just a real odd discomfort right here, right between the ribs right there. I laid down on the floor for a bit thinking I'll just, see what's going on. And then I went downstairs and ate some lunch because it almost felt like hunger pangs. He comes around the corner and he's like, what's wrong? Something's wrong. And I thought, I just don't feel that well. And I told him my symptoms, and then I started feeling a little tightness, I guess, here. And he took my blood pressure, which was fine, totally fine. And he said, well, let's just go.
So when she came through the door, I was in the office and I heard somebody scream help. I walked out and I found Miss Weber. She started to collapse onto the floor, so we got her into a wheelchair, and we immediately brought her back to room 2, where we checked her pulse, and she was in cardiac arrest. There was no pulse. So we started CPR according to ACLS protocols.
The room was packed with physicians and doctors, and I remember the doctor that was in charge, he said, we have no pulse, we have no breathing. And he started to do his CPR. So that was a big deal that day in terms of just the impact and the significance of what was happening. And so for about 2 hours or so, they worked to resuscitate and stabilize.
An IV started for me real quick. An IV.
After CPR, we were able to stabilize her enough for ground transportation to Riverside Regional Medical Center.
Down at Regional, they weren't able to do the catheterization that day just because of the stability factor. But the next morning, Dr. Chu did that procedure first thing in the morning. Turned out to be more of a observation piece because the medicine that they did here had done its job. We've had the fortune of communicating and consulting with a few other major facilities and other doctors, renowned doctors, and I will tell you, they all, even with hindsight, looking through what was done, the procedures, what was applied, they all say the same thing, that emergency room saved your life.
I've never been as aware as I am now of the level of expertise and care and just talent that they have. It's really incredible. I feel like God used them to save me, and their work is really important. What they do is just really, really valuable and important.
I can't think, and I'm not a medical professional, but I can't think of anything more rewarding than using your skills that you've worked years to hone and develop to save a life.